We'll first start off with the thing which is called as the recruitment process. Now, a lot of people would obviously know about this recruitment process already, but I still wanted to, take you through this process because it is important. Why it is important? Because for a single most reason that it helps you plan. If you plan your stuff well, the chances of you getting into the profile is much higher. So it's basically you increasing your chances of getting into those profiles. It also, can segregate you from the other people who are competing for similar profiles. So you should focus on the interview process. As such, it's not a very complicated process. So if you look at how the interview or how the recruitment works is basically, let's say there is a recruitment manager. So let's say I am working with a team and somebody from my team has resigned. So as a recruiting manager, or as the manager of the team, I need somebody for my team. So what I'll do is I will list down all the things that are required, key skill sets required for that particular job, and give that to HR. Now, when I'm listing down the requirement, it is more like a wish list, right? I write everything. I write everything possible in that. I also know when I'm writing this that sorry, I may not be able to get all of this in a single person, but yet I go ahead and write that particular um, in the requirement. Now, how is it important for you, or what you can do out of it is that when you look at a particular profile, think of it as wish list. Do not hesitate to apply if you're not matching a few of their requirements. If you are matching to the top 3-4 requirements, you should go ahead and apply for it. For instance, a lot of time these days I see people even recruiting for chartered accountants. They say that, apart from obviously your technical knowledge, I'm also expecting a lot of skills with softwares like Python, SQL, Tableau, Power BI, all these things. Now these are requirements, and no doubt a lot of some of the profiles may require this as a primary requirement, but majority of them do not have this as a primary requirement. You should be able to segregate the two requirements: what is the primary requirement and what is not the primary requirement. If you're able to do that, then you can apply to the right set of jobs. I come across a lot of students who don't apply because it's written, so they also was asking for Python, but Python was written somewhere in the last couple of lines saying that if you know Python, it's good, or Python also is a requirement. So think of that requirement list or the job description that you get from the company as a wish list, and work accordingly. Don't hesitate. What happens after I give this to the HR guy? The HR guy is one step ahead. He will also add his own 2 cents by adding requirement of communication, this and that. While not all of them will require whatever the HR guy is adding, but HR guy has to add something, right? They call it as value add. So they will add their own 2 cents to it and then post these jobs. Right. So again, when those things are coming, you should be able, if let's say we have somebody, or you are somebody who is not that good with communication, and you see one of the requirements as communication, you should be able to again judge whether it is really a requirement, or it is just just one more add-on point that the HR has put in. Once this is done, this is then posted onto job boards like Naukri, IM Jobs. You've got Indeed. It could be also posted on their own portal, right? Companies have their career page; they will post it there. They sometimes also send it across to recruitment agencies whom they have empaneled as a outsourcing person. So they may send it to recruitment agency, and obviously sometimes it is put onto the internal portals of the company. Like when I was with Crisil, we had a separate portal for referrals. So where they used to post the requirement and the employees could refer. Now, why is it this important? That when you are targeting a particular company, you should be able to understand that what is the primary source or primary way of that company's work, or how does that company generally recruit. If you know that, For instance, I know of a company which relies mostly on the referral. And who is the person who gets the referral first is the person who gets to the point first. The reason is, as soon as this requirement is put out by the manager also tells his team that I'm looking out, and the HR also tells to the various employees in that company that we are looking out. So when so many people internally know of this, they can refer people, right? So you should be able to understand from some historical data, a bit of analysis, if you're targeting a particular company, that you should know what is the primary way or source of their recruitment. The next is, you should understand that when people give out job requirements, and if it is a good quality job, then there are hundreds of resumes that come within minutes or hours. For instance, when I was with Crisil, and when we used to post for one single equity research profile, immediately within 2 hours we used to get 300 resumes. And once it is a week, it is almost 3000 resumes. So single position, 3000 resumes. Even if I say, on the first, if I just stick to the first resumes received in the first 3 hours, it is still 300 resumes. There is no way that the HR will be able to process all of them, right? So obviously they will find their own quick ways of filtering, and one of the easiest way of filtering is looking for keywords, right? So this also brings us to the point that when you are building the resume, this again we will talk when we will go to the resume, that keywords are key to getting you a job. So those keywords, if they are in your resume, there is a very high chance that you will at least go through the first level of filtering. A lot of these HR guys also go into portal and search for relevant candidates, right? What they do for the search is that they look out for the keywords for the search, right? So ensure that you have the right keywords which the recruiter is searching for in your resume. Now, when I say keywords, it's not just putting the keywords. For instance, financial modeling is one of the important keywords if you want to get jobs into equity research, investment banking, and related field. Now, it does not mean that if you just write financial modeling some corner of your resume as important skills, you will be shortlisted. You may be shortlisted for the first level, but as soon as this resume is put to the requirement the manager who is asked for the requirement, he will basically reject that one if it just has a single line saying that financial modeling. Instead, you should say that, okay, I've been doing financial modeling for so many years, or I have built models for these companies, and this is what I did. If you put it across like that, there is a very high chance that you will get a further shortlisting. The next step, once they have done a quick filter, is to do one more initial round of screening, which is calling up the students, trying to understand. The HR guys will generally call, trying to fix up interview. Their objective obviously is to check communication and the expectation, right? This is what they are trying to do to get to the right candidates. Some companies also give out psychometric tests, so you should Google out and take up some psychometric test already in preparation of your interviews, right? You should take up those. Not everybody is giving psychometric test, but a lot of large companies are giving out psychometric tests. Once you are through with the first round, which is basically the call, on the call, you undergo technical round. Now this is where you also need to have more details about each companies, right? For instance, I'll give you an example. We have a company in Hyderabad called DE Shaw. It does 7 rounds of technical interviews in a single day, right? It is an exaggerated process that they have, but obviously they have a very good filtering criteria. So what you should understand is what are the general questions asked. In a very broad sense, I can tell you that these days most of the finance jobs that are there, the interview process is based on case studies, right? So you should be able to, or you should be ready to solve those case studies either live with them or solve it and send it across. Different companies have got their different ways, and obviously based on that there is based on the case study you have a interview. You should also know what are the rounds that are generally there. If you don't know about the rounds, you should typically check with the HR when they call up during this the initial screening and shortlisting process, to ask them what is the recruitment process, or how what will be the process of the technical rounds and the various rounds that are there. It is a important question that you should ask, and you should be prepared. Finally, if you're through with the technical rounds, then obviously you go through the HR round, where the HR will obviously is primarily calling for some kind of salary negotiation, or trying to see if whatever they are offering is good for you or not. So that is the primary reason for that call. So you should be very clear of what you are expecting from that particular job opportunity, in terms of the salary expectation, in terms of other things that are coming along with that particular job opportunities. So you should have your set of questions ready. Obviously, sometimes they send across a offer letter and then call you, but a lot of time they will just call you initially before sending out the offer letter, because sending out the offer letter is obviously a tedious job, and if you just reject this offer letter on the face of it, it does not make sense for them. So they will call up generally and check for your expectation. So this is how the interview process works. This also then brings us to those key questions of what did we take from this particular understanding. If I summarize, or if I just take out the crux of it, is that resume becomes a very important document for us, because that can help us understand, that can help us at least get the shortlisting done. Second is, if we know how the technical rounds are working, we can prepare for it. Third is that if we know what profiles we have applied, and what is the exact job of that particular the particular job that we have applied, what exactly has to be done, or what exactly people do in that particular job or that particular profile, then that will also help us prepare. So all this is just to ensure that you are well prepared for the interview. So at this point, I will just take a pause and check if you guys have questions with this. Any questions? That will be, we can take up right away.
So, in that, the psychometric test, what is all about, and what will be tested on that segment?
So it's basically trying to understand various aspects of a person, right? Trying to understand whether you are a team player or not. How do you take decisions? Are you somebody who takes decision, very quickly, or out of rage, or out of stuff? So they have this typical questions. If you look at those psychometric test questions, you will understand. They will give you situations like, this is the situation, and what will you do in this situation? And there is no right or wrong answers.
It's all about the personality and attitude
Correct.
checking.
Correct. That is what they basically try and do.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
So, yeah, you cannot really prepare for it, but what you can do is at least ensure that you've taken a few psychometric tests, so that you have broadly the idea.
It's more of impulsive, right? Not a planned thing. It's like
Okay, right, exactly. It's not something that you can really plan for or prepare for, but if you've taken one or two psychometric tests, you will understand how it works.